Hey everyone, I'm here today to take a look at the Anglo Arms rubber grip handle knife, which must be the most basic and to the point name for a knife I've ever come across. It's only a cheap knife, but does it cost anything to give it a cooler name? Couldn't they call it the Panther or the Cougar or something? But we're going to take a look at this. It's a $12.99 knife, so we're going to see how good it is for the price. It's full tang, which is nice, and it's got an impact butt at the end there. Relatively thick, not too thick, but not thin that it seems weak. And it's a Tanto style blade, but I'll give you a closer look in a minute. Comes in this plastic sheath. It's not Kydex, even though it's got that kind of look to it. Has a very thin belt loop there, so if you've got just a regular belt, it'll fit through there. But if you've got a belt with any kind of tactical clip to it, it's not going to fit through there. You can also adjust this by unscrewing the back there, so you can have it either as a hanging down sheath or a bit higher up on your belt if you want to spin this around to have down there. However, you can't attach it to the sides along here. The screw holes are too small, so you can't have it, may say, on the back of your belt that way round. It will only hang from the top there. You can use these holes and slits here to attach it to a pack or something though, or maybe even some webbing on the front of your chest. So there are still uses for these, but it's a shame that the belt loop itself won't attach through any of these holes. Now for the blade itself, it's Tanto style with a black coating to hopefully prevent rusting. See on the side here it's got Anglo Arms written across the top, and then the rubber grip handle, the main feature and namesake. And it has got a really nice grip to it. There's some good finger grooves there and a thumb groove there, so you can get a really nice tight and comfortable grip there. It doesn't ever feel like it's going to slip out of your hand or slide around. There's an impact butt for smashing through glass, say you're in a car that's crashed and you can't get the door open. And you can see there that that also shows the full tang. It's the bottom there coming out, so it's a relatively thick and long full tang going along there with a couple of screws holding it in place. It's got a nice texturing to the rubber there as well, which contributes to the solid grip feel of it not sliding or anything. There's a nice bit of guard there too for your finger, so it never feels like my finger's going to slip over and onto the blade. The blade itself, as I say, is Tanto, but one thing with Anglo Arms knives is that the blades are never razor sharp when you get them. It is sharp, but it's not razor sharp. This won't shave your leg hair. I've tested it myself and it doesn't cut hair. That's always how I test the sharpness of a new knife, if I can shave a bit of hair off my legs, and this wouldn't. Which is a shame, but I guess it comes down to what you're paying for this knife. You know, it's $12.99, so it's pretty cheap for a full tang sheath knife like this, but it does mean you have to put a bit of effort in if you want to get that razor sharp. On the impact butt you can also put a lanyard through if you want to. Not my thing personally, I find they get in the way, I don't like it dangling around, but I know a lot of people are putting lanyards on things, so you do have the ability to with this. So it's carving through this hardwood, but you can definitely tell that it's not razor sharp as we're getting into the harder wood deeper in. It's more hard going, doesn't glide through. So I'm definitely going to need to sharpen this up. Have to apply a lot more pressure to cut through. This is a blade that feels strong enough for batoning as well. Personally, I'm not much of one for batoning. If I want to cut some wood up, I'll bring a hatchet with me, but I know some people are into that, and I think more so if you're in a survival situation and you only have your belt knife on you, batoning is useful, and this feels strong enough for that. Because it's full tang and relatively thick, it just needs sharpening up, which is par for the course with Anglo Arms knives. I think anyone who has bought Anglo Arms products before can attest to that. But if you've got the time and the ability to sharpen a knife like this for $12.99, if you're on a budget especially and you want a decent fixed blade knife like this to put on your belt, I would recommend it. I got it from Springfields in the UK. They're pretty good online knife retailer I find. I don't know if they're available anywhere else or not, or for as cheap as that. Springfields tend to be pretty cheap. I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. They didn't send me this for free. I had to pay for this. It did make me laugh that on the box there's a warning saying extremely sharp. And I don't know if I'd say extremely, but it's marketed as extremely sharp on the box there. I attempted to see if this knife would be any good for knife throwing. It's not, because if you hit whatever you're aiming at with the handle and not the blade, because it's rubber, it will bounce back at you. So no good as a throwing knife. However, while I was practicing with this throwing, it did get bashed around a lot against trees and on the ground when it was bouncing back and going on the ground, and there's not a single nick in the blade. The handle hasn't been torn or cracked at all. So I've thrown this around quite a bit, and as I say, no damage to it. So it seems pretty hardy, but don't be foolish like I was and start throwing this thing around. It is not a throwing knife. I purely did it just to test it and put it through its paces, but not a sensible thing to do. So thanks for watching, ladies and gents, and I'll catch you in the next video.